Hey there, thanks so much for watching. I am finally here to do my much awaited, for me at least, recap of my April spending plan budget, and to kind of give you an overview of my numbers. And I'll explain why this is really exciting. So I'll go through it line by line. And I'm back to using the screen recorder, even though I know it has a tendency to cut off the bottom of the screen. I will just try to be super mindful of that as I scroll through. And I'm using this because there are a lot of like moving parts in this month, and I want to be really clear in how I detail it because like I spent time recapping this, and I want to make sure that it comes across clearly because, and I've explained this before. I live on a very very tight. My margins are very close in terms of my fixed expenses and my housing costs. So anytime I'm able to like make any type of headway, I'm really excited. And I feel like I'm like chipping away at the rocks here, and I'm praying for an avalanche to start soon. So, starting at the top in my income, this is my fixed income for my day job. So I have that coming in. Then I have a section for additional income up at the top. And this is what I made from private lessons. This is what, so individually I teach a private student, and then I teach with a studio. And I was shocked this month because I was paid on time, and the studio owner is just really, really sweet, but he's not always super on time with payments because it's such a small amount for me. He doesn't always get it out on time, but it was in my folder today, so I just deposited a new check for today. I did not take any income from eBay. It's all kind of sitting in my account still. I also, and I'll explain why I did this, and you may or may not agree with my decision to do this, but I did. I took this amount from savings and moved into my checking account. I took this amount from my cash reserve and I moved that over. And then I had this miscellaneous income coming in the form of a tax refund. So this line down here was my ending balance, meaning this amount is still in my checking account. So that is how I tracked my income for the month, and I had this down at the bottom, so I just changed around sort of the structure of the sheet, but I kept the basic format the same. So moving on to my fixed expenses, this is what I pay for housing. My utility costs are right here. My phone cost is here. My gym cost is there, and my immediate savings I had meant to place in this amount, and I actually placed in this amount. My tithe stays the same at 10% gross, and that was my fixed automatic debited student loan amount for a total of this amount here. And I apologize if you're just listening to this. I'm not going to say numbers out loud, but I am going to show them so you guys can see them here on the screen. Then moving on to the variable expenses, and these are expenses that I can have some control over, and this is sort of where the most leverage comes in. You'll see kind of how I was able to do what I did. So for gas, I had budgeted this amount, but I actually came in a tiny bit under. For groceries, I came in super low, and I was shocked, and I didn't even eat out that much. So I think I just got really, really, really close. And aware of what I was spending. I made 2 trips to the Lidl store by us, and that's about, I want to say 30 miles away, and that's become like my favorite like excursion. So it's like I have to plan for it, but if I sort of work that into my routine, it's totally doable. So I'm going to continue doing that. Personal care, I only spent this. Transportation was my registration. Car registration renewal, which is due every year around this time. Then food out, I spent this amount. And additional, this includes things like subscription fees, random, this is like my spending money type category, for a subtotal of this amount. So for total expenses, variable and fixed, that's what I spent. Now we come to the miscellaneous ad hoc category. This is a little hefty. And I put some things in here that I didn't really know how else to categorize. So that's, I'm going to kind of leave it here and then tweak in my May plan. So for lawn care, I spent this amount to clear out our balance from last year because I didn't do a very good job of budgeting it last year. For therapy, I spent this amount. I only went twice. I had a speeding ticket, and believe me, that was like the biggest headache of my month. But I was happy I got it resolved with no points, and I just paid that amount to like leave it alone, to not have to think about it, because I could have like hired a lawyer and then like challenged it, but I just didn't want to spend the time to think about that. So this is the amount, and this is actually why I ended up taking some money at the time from savings, which I plan to return. I still have my baby emergency fund intact. So I took this amount to go on a 2-day mini break because over Easter. And I'd mentioned this, the break to Cape May. I took off Friday and Monday, and I paid this amount for the hotel in cash, and it was worth like 3 times that amount. So note to self, vacations are always worth it. And I didn't have to go into debt and was able to use that amount. Actually, and I'm really considering like sticking to the grocery budget as part of that as well. So I was able to sort of cobble that together. And then and this is another kind of controversial topic, I paid this amount for a monthly membership to the hot yoga studio by me, which I am again happy to pay because I feel like I know that it affects my mental, like my mindset and my outlook. So once more, I'm happy to pay that. It did add up. My miscellaneous costs did add up. So that was kind of a large expense and outgo, leading to a grand total of this amount. Now, as I scroll down, you see that big red box right there? That is a part that I am so excited about, even though it hurt a little bit, hurt a lot. I put an additional amount toward my student loan, which is the most I've ever put at one time. Despite having this channel for like, I don't even want to say how many years I've had this channel and how many years my goal has been to kill off the student loan, it just has taken so long. It feels like it refuses to die. So, which I guess I can't, I don't know, I don't want to say I can't fault myself, but, my opening balance was this amount, and I had wanted so badly to be in the 13s, but I'd scheduled the payment for 4 days out because I was waiting for my paycheck to come in, and in those 4 days, I gained like $11 in interest. It was ridiculous. I'm like, and it's really the power of like compound interest. They say if you don't understand it, you're doomed to be ruled by it. So I see it, and I just want it gone. So as I've said before, this is the most progress I've ever made in my debt in this whole time that I've been on YouTube, that I've had this this goal. So this is what I put toward it this month in April. This is what I put in February. I didn't put anything in March. This is what I put in February. I planned 40. I'd actually put 70. And this is what I put in January. So it's ridiculously slow because I have just no margin, but it's like, again, it's like I'm tapping away at the rocks. And it's not easy, and it's not fast. Like, I am winning no awards for speed. Like, I am not going to be able to hold up one of those signs and be like, $50,000 in 3 months. Like, no, that is not me. Like, I am, you know, like, it took me 5 years to clear out $20,000, but like, I mean, this is just the reality of where I am, and I feel like I am, I don't want to say I'm working the plan. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm working the plan, and I am actively planning on bringing in additional income because at this point, the housing costs are not going to go down. So that's where it is, and I feel like compared to the me of like this time last year, I am like leaps and bounds ahead of that, and that's the only thing I'm competing against. So that's kind of where I am. That's where I am in my wrap up, and I really am. I guess that's the biggest takeaway: is it's not a ton of progress by many people's standards, but compared to where I've come from, it's huge, and compared to like where I am right now, it's really big. So that's where it is. I'm gonna wrap it up for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you will continue to watch.